everyone, Cheryl here with a desktop organizer that I created for Really Reasonable Ribbon. This idea came from a gal from work. Her name's Sherri. She asked me if I could use these like real thick cardboard label rolls that they throw away. And I said, sure. And so she came up with the idea of using 3 different sizes to make a desktop organizer. And so I made this one for her. And I did use Really Reasonable Ribbon, seam binding, buttons, flowers, the leaves, and what else did I use? Let's see. Oh, and then I also used the lace, and it's the Gabrielle. So I used the lace to go along the bottom and the top. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and covered them with paper on the inside and the out. And then I cut circles of cardstock for the inside. And then I did a felt on the bottom. And so today I'm just going to show you how I did some of the little embellishments, like this one here with the buttons and the flowers and the seam binding. And then I actually did the seam binding grass over a CottageCutz grass. And what else did I do? I did a little flower for the frog, one on each. And I used the green seam binding and the pink. And so there we have it. So I'm just going to show that today. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see. So for the grass, I went ahead and I cut 2 pieces of grass in, this is a American Crafts cardstock. So I did 2 different ones. And so what I do is glue those together. And I did attach them to this first, but for this video, I'm not going to do that. And so then the next thing I did was I took Really Reasonable Ribbon's moss green seam binding. And what you'll want to do is take the ends, or one of the ends, and hopefully you're able to see. And I try to pull one of the little strands out so I can ruche it up. And I did use hot glue to attach most everything on the front of this. For attaching the paper, you could use the Scrapping tape. And Really Reasonable Ribbon does carry that as well. And so you'll want to get it as big as you think you're going to need it to place it on top of here. And then I just go ahead and glue that on. So you could glue your 2 pieces, of grass together using the hot glue. Hopefully I don't burn myself. Oops. I'm just trying to do this really quick so we can move on to the next one. So once you have this done and it's on your whatever you're going to put it on, you could go ahead and add your seam binding. And so I just put the glue there. And then you take your seam binding and I fold the one end under. And let me lift this up. And then I just kind of take it and place it along the bottom. I like to give dimension to a lot of my projects. So using the seam binding and lace is one way to do that, along with your dies and so forth. And so that gives you the grass, and there's the grass that I did. Hopefully you could see that. So for the leaves, I went ahead and used the mulberry flowers. These are the 70 millimeter fern leaves that Really Reasonable Ribbon carries. I used those. And I also used the leaves, the 30 millimeter green flower or leaves that Bonnie carries. So the next thing we're going to do is create one of the little button rosettes that I made. It's a flower button rosette. And so I did go ahead and I used 2 green buttons for that. So you'll want to pick a large one and then of course a smaller one. And then a flower. And the flowers I'm using are the Sweetheart Blossoms, and those are also from Really Reasonable Ribbon. These are the two-tone pink. And so you'll just glue your buttons together. Whoops. So I just put the smaller one in the larger one, and I'm getting hot glue everywhere. And then place your little flower, your Sweetheart Blossom, on the top. So once you have that done, again, we're using the green seam binding, so I'll go ahead and just cut. I'm going to leave that aside. And again, we're just ruching it. And the easiest way I've found to do this is take tweezers, because I start getting a little, when I have to try to, I have glue and stuff all over my hands, so when you're trying to pull one, it can be a little difficult to get. So there's the one I've found in there. And you'll just ruche it up. I love the seam binding that Bonnie carries. It's so easy to work with. I know there's some out there that it's impossible to ruche like this as easy as hers is. So now that I've got the seam binding ruched up, I take my button and I place a little bit of glue along the back side. Whoops, and hopefully you could see that. Okay. And then you'll just take, again, and I always fold the edges over, and you just kind of work it however you like the look. But having it ruched up makes it so much easier just to glue it on instead of trying to ruche it by hand or, you know, with the glue. And then I just cut the one end, and I should have waited to add that glue. And again, get another piece from this end and ruche it. And then the same thing, you attach. And then the back. So you have an easy rosette button. Little flower button. Super easy to add to your project. So I just added one here, and then I also did another one here, and then one on the back, and that's just one button. And I did the little bow, and the bow's the same thing. You can ruche your bow and then just make a bow, and to do that it's the same thing. You're going to pull your strand. If your strand comes out like this one, you can just go ahead and get another one. Of course, I'm making a mess, but I have glue on my hands, and it's so hard to work when you have a lot of glue. Oops. And the bow's not going to be as tight, so you're going to want to just pull down like I'm doing. So once you have that part done right here so much, then you can cut a nice longer piece and come on the other end and do the same thing. It makes it nice when you could get one just to, and we're just moving the seam binding down for this because this is just going to be a little bow. That's all. So now we're going to make our bow, and I just do a couple loops, and then I take my messy wire and I could cut a piece. And then I just put it in the middle. And you could add your little flower, your button flower rosette to the center of your bow. And so that's that. That's how I did the bows. And how long's my video? Ooh. Okay. Now for the little teeny flowers that you could put in the on the hat. I just take this is the Vivid Pink seam binding that Bonnie carries. Let me cut that piece off. And this one, it's just a real small little flower, so you're only gonna ruche. And I do use the hot glue gun, and hopefully it's not too hot for this one. So really, you're just ruching a tad bit. I mean, real small to do this. So you kind of have it, I don't know if you could see that real well because we're working with a real small piece. And then I'm just going to cut it, oops, like that. And then what I do is I just take the hot glue and put a little bit on the back side. And then you can kind of make your flower. So there's a little teeny flower. I don't know if you'll see that very well. And then I did the same with the green seam binding again. To make the leaves for the back. And this one's real small too. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't. Ah! See what I'm pulling. There it is. But it's just going to be a small piece for your leaf. And then you're just going to fold it like so. Whoops, hopefully, can you see that? So you're just going to fold it like that and put some glue on it. Don't worry about your ends. And I usually take the glue gun off the heat part so it's not super hot because you are going to be touching a little bit of it. And then I just trim up the excess. So there you have a little teeny flower with a leaf. And so I hope you enjoyed my video today on using Really Reasonable ribbon seam binding to create grass and the little button flower rosettes and the little mini flowers. And thank you for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.